The signal hits Cael like a fist behind his eyes. He jackknifes upright in the dark, gasping, sheets twisted around his legs. The safe house is silent. Jun snores softly 2 cots over. Myrle's breathing is measured, deliberate, the sleep of someone who trained herself to rest on command. But the sound tearing through Cael's skull isn't sound at all. It's frequency. It's light compressed into language, and it burns cobalt blue behind his closed eyelids. Then comes the voice. Young star, they have marked your heat signature. The Sovereign's outriders cross the Thermaline Ridge at moonset. You have until the second bell, perhaps less. Cael knows that voice. It belongs to Valeth, the storm-scaled dragon who pulled him from the wreckage of Spire 9 when he was 12 years old. He hasn't heard her in over a year. He's already reaching for his boots. "Everyone up," he whispers, and his storm-gray eyes catch the faintest edge of city light bleeding through the shutters. They found us. Jun rolls off his cot with the graceless efficiency of someone who's been woken by disaster before. How long? Minutes, maybe. Myrle is already at the table, pulling up the holographic grid from her wrist unit. Pale blue lines sketching the district in midair. Sara appears from the hall with 2 charge packs, and a look that says she's been hoping for exactly this kind of trouble. Far above them, in the orbital command ring that crowns this hemisphere like a black halo, Sovereign Malrek's surveillance network processes 11 billion data points per second. It does not sleep. It does not forget. Every thermal bloom, every whispered conversation near a compromised node, every flicker of unregistered energy feeds the machine. And Cael's magic, raw and cosmic and barely controlled, burns like a bonfire in a dark field every time he uses it. The eastern drainage channel, Myrle says quietly. It runs beneath the market tier and exits past the signal fence. If we move now, we stay below their sweep pattern. And if we don't move now? Sora asks, already knowing. Myrle doesn't answer. She doesn't need to. They've all seen what happens to rebel cells that wait 1 minute too long. The Empire doesn't arrest. It erases. Cael pulls his jacket on and feels something stir in his chest, hot and restless, like static before lightning. Lyra is waiting at the drainage hatch. She's been awake. He can tell by the way her silver-dark hair is already pulled back, the way her hand rests steady on the access lever, the way her eyes find his immediately in the dark and hold. "Valeth," she asks. He nods. "How bad?" "Bad enough that she broke a year of silence to warn me." Something shifts in Lyra's expression. Not fear, something older. She steps closer. And for a moment, the chaos narrows to just the 2 of them, and the sound of water running beneath the grate. "My mother used to get signals like that," Lyra says, so quietly he almost misses it. Before the purge of Aetherion district, she ignored the last one. It's the first time she's mentioned her mother. Cael understands, with a clarity that hurts, that Lyra is telling him this not as history but as instruction. Don't ignore it, don't hesitate, don't be what she lost. He wants to say something real, something that matches the weight of what she just gave him. Instead he reaches out and grips her hand, once hard, and she grips back. "We go," he says. "We go," she echoes. The drainage channel is a cathedral of corroded metal and rushing dark water. And they run through it single file with Jun's wrist unit, casting a thin blade of light ahead. Cael feels the pursuit before he hears it, a pressure change in the air, a subsonic hum that makes his teeth ache. They have deployed screamers. Vaelith's voice blooms through his mind. "Climb, I am coming." "Up," Cael shouts, and they scramble for the maintenance ladder bolted into the channel wall. Sora goes first because Sora always goes first, then Myrl, then Jun. Lyra pushes Cael ahead of her, and he wants to argue, but there's no time. Because the tunnel behind them fills with a shriek of white noise, designed to shatter thought and freeze muscle. Cael throws his hand back, and something erupts from his palm. Raw cosmic energy, unshapen, desperate. A wave of silver-blue force that meets the screamer pulse and detonates it into silence. The blowback knocks him 3 rungs up the ladder. They burst through a roof hatch into open sky, and the city spire sprawls beneath them in every direction. Towers linked by light bridges, transit pods streaking between levels. The Empire's sigil glowing red on every broadcast surface. Then Vaelith arrives. She descends through a break in the cloud cover like a piece of the storm made solid. Her scales are deep indigo laced with veins of living lightning, and her wingspan throws a shadow across the entire rooftop. 2 more dragons flank her, smaller, younger, their scales green-gold and burning amber. "Mount ** Vaelith commands. "We argue later about why you smell like fear." Jun lets out a half-hysterical laugh. They climb. Cael swings onto Vaelith's neck and feels her muscles coil. Feels the ancient intelligence behind her eyes lock onto the Outrider ships now rising from the lower tiers. She launches. The city drops away. Wind tears at Cael's jacket, and the sky opens up enormous and terrible and free. They fly hard and low through the wreckage belt, the orbital ruins that ring the planet like a broken crown. Shattered station hulls drift in silence, old war debris, older secrets. Vaelith slows near a fragment of hull, marked with symbols Cael doesn't recognize. Then he does. They surface in his mind like something rising from deep water. He's seen them before, not in a book, not on a screen. In a memory that doesn't belong to him. He's standing in a room filled with white light. A woman with his eyes is pressing her hand to a console, and the symbols are flowing from her fingers. She is speaking, but he can't hear the words. "That was your mother," Vaelith says, and her voice is careful, almost gentle. "She built the resonance lock, the device that keeps Malrek from draining this world's core. It is failing, young star. It has been failing for 3 years." Cael's blood goes cold. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because you were not ready. You may still not be. But the lock will collapse within the season, and when it does, this planet dies." The dragons circle the ruin in silence. Jun stares at the symbols on the hull fragment. Myrl is already calculating, her lips moving without sound. Sora grips the spine ridge of her dragon and says nothing, which is how Cael knows she's truly shaken. Lyra meets his gaze across the gap between Vaelith and the amber dragon. The wind pulls at her silver-dark hair. She doesn't look away. "There is more," Vaelith says. "Your mother encoded the lock's repair sequence. She hid it in 3 pieces across 3 locations the Sovereign has never found. The first is inside a place called the Cradle of Echoes. It sits at the bottom of the Marin Trench, beneath 8 kilometers of black ocean." Cael stares down at the planet turning below him, vast and fragile and running out of time. His mother's secret, Malrek's hunger, a trench no one has ever returned from. The next move isn't a choice, it's a certainty. If you want to dive into the Marin Trench with Cael, subscribe to Cosmic Casefile. Because Chapter 4 goes deep, and not everyone is coming back up.